What's up? What's up? We're back with B&E. Let's just go over week 11 real quick. Thursday night last week, man, the Jets and Patriots. Patriots won as expected. They were able to pass the ball at will all over the field. However, Travion Henderson was just stealing touchdown after touchdown from Drake May. So that definitely hurt in fantasy if you had Drake May, but it was great for you if you had Indy. Justin Fields looks pretty good on the opening drive and then just reverted straight back to the Jets that we've been seeing all year. And he just got benched a couple hours ago, right before we were recording this.
Yeah, I thought the Jets were going to keep this one competitive. They ended up tossing that one away pretty quick. So, yeah, this was great for the Patriots. They get up to 9-2. Them and the Broncos are tied for the top right now, which is pretty crazy. Two second-year quarterbacks going hard. I mean, I guess Bo Nix isn't necessarily going that hard right now, but
the teams' records are great. Yeah. I am a little worried about the Patriots in the long run, though, for this season. I don't think they're a 9-2 squad. They're really good. They are good. They win games. Mike Vrabel should be the coach of the year. You know, everybody looks amazing. I just don't think that as this season's starting to unfold and we see the quality of teams that they've actually beaten, other than the Bills, they've won like a couple really good games. Other than that, they've whooped up on a lot of lower end level teams. So I'm interested to see how they do with this divisional race going forward and then really what they do in the playoffs. I think they could fall off real quick in the playoffs.
Really, they need that defense to hold up in the case that Drake May does fall off at some point or the offense does run into some consistency. I think that that's what like Denver has over New England at this point, even though they're very much in the same boat.
I feel the same way about both teams.
Yeah.
They could both be potential frauds for real.
Definitely. On to the next game. Washington and Miami. For me, this game was pretty even for the majority of the game. It was kind of to be expected. It was two mid-ass teams.
Yeah, no one had high hopes for this.
It was cool seeing Mariota and Tua play, though. Apparently they've got some ties all the way back to high school. So anyways, Miami took it. That's what we expected. It was very, very close. But this is a game that Miami needed if they were going to go anywhere. I guess the same goes for the Commanders, but Miami's kind of been on a little bit of a better roll lately.
Yeah, Miami's won 3 out of their last 4, I believe. I still think this was a terrible, terrible game on their part. They had a real easy opportunity to kick a field goal and get some points on the board in the fourth quarter. They went for it. Ended up in overtime, risked it all. They got, I'm not going to say lucky, but they got their 3rd interception of the whole season on the first play in overtime off of Marcus Mariota. So, they were able to pull it out, but they could have ended that game in regulation once, if not twice. And I think if they lost in OT, Mike McDaniels should have been fired right after that game. So he's still hanging on by a thread.
Hey, I think they like the mind of Mike McDaniels more so than anything, regardless of the record. I think they just kind of have an infatuation with him for the time being. I don't think he's really going to go anywhere. I think next year, that'll be his calling card.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree.
Next up, we got Green Bay Giants. This game was way closer than I expected.
Yeah.
Christian Watson did pop off. That was cool to see. He needed to do something, especially with all the other attacking pieces that were out on that offense. With Josh Jacobs out now, too, it's going to open it up for him to get more balls. People that have Emmanuel Wilson stashed are looking at the waiver wire, nail him. Overall, this game was way closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, once again, Green Bay plays down to lower competition, and this is definitely a theme of them this season. They barely got away with this win. They're clearly the better team, but there was a good chunk of this game where Malik Willis looked better than Jordan Love, and that's a problem, honestly. Jordan Love did go out of the game for a little bit with a left shoulder injury, so, keep an eye on that, but I don't anticipate him missing any time going forward. Josh Jacobs has a knee injury. I just saw a little bit ago, it says does not need surgery, but his week 12 is in doubt. So I'm assuming he'll be out a week or two. Hopefully that's it, and he'll be back for fantasy playoffs, but we'll see. Emmanuel Wilson is definitely looking good, though.
He'll be the number 1 waiver wire pickup this week for sure. But yeah, I'm always impressed by the fact that the Giants can keep themselves in games like this. Obviously, they don't have the offense to put it together yet, but I feel like here in a couple of years they're going to be good.
Yeah, with Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo back there, I think that they should be a formidable football team next season.
Definitely. Next up, we got Houston, Tennessee. This is a game that I kind of expected it to roll this way. Both teams started pretty slow. Texans are starting Davis Mills. Based on what he did last week, it was going to go the same way. They held it close the whole time, and Davis Mills ended up just shooting off right there at the end and getting themselves some points and ended up winning that game.
It took them a long time to get the offense going, and they ended up winning on a last-second field goal. Felt like that was the fate from the get-go. The Titans No matter how well they play in the first 3 quarters, they just can't seem to ever close it out. I feel bad for them. At the same time, though, it'll be good for them if they're able to land a first overall pick again. That could be huge for their team. Who knows what they'll do with it. Tennessee basically just has room to grow everywhere in all facets of the game. But Houston's defense proves once again how legit they are. I think they're going to go and give competition to whoever they play all season long. Hopefully CJ Stroud comes back soon and is able to get right, and they can go on a nice win streak and get into these playoffs.
Yeah, I think this week he should be back. Maybe they'll get it together and finally streak something.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Carolina at Atlanta. This was an awesome game. It just went back and forth the whole time. But unfortunately, we did lose Michael Penix. That does suck for Atlanta. But this is going to be the Kirk Cousins comeback. As for Carolina, had a way to scrap down and hang in there and get the scores that you needed to get in clutch time. That was pretty cool.
It was definitely a big comeback for Carolina. The fourth quarter was great.
Bryce Young looked like a number one pick.
He had 448 passing yards, I believe 3 touchdowns. He looked amazing. That was awesome to see. I'm really just excited to see that out of Bryce Young. The Panthers have a winning football record. They are ahead of the Chiefs in the standings. That's awesome. Finally got another pick right on Carolina. I think that's like up to 3 for the season now.
Yeah.
I don't know who they play this week coming up, but I'm excited. I mean, they should all be so excited after that Bryce Young game in Carolina. The coaching staff and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say the sky's the limit, but the Panthers have playoff potential right now this season. They have to go on a big win streak. I'm not saying they'll do anything in the playoffs, but as of right now, they could make the playoffs, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, they just need to hold it together and play as a solid team. They just need no more of those random downs where they just like
get blown out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do that.
That's such a confidence bummer, and it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, Atlanta's essentially down and out, though. I think they're, 3-7?
I think so.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, this is Kirk Cousins' chance to get this team up to like 9-7, 10-7 if he can go on a hard streak. But that's not going to happen. No chance. They are done, down, and out. Next up, we got the Chicago-Minnesota game. This is a letdown for me. It was a good game to watch, but just a letdown for me. I thought Minnesota was really going to walk in here and have a prove-it game. This was it where J.J. McCarthy needed to walk in and be like, hey, we're taking this game by storm. Screw Caleb Williams. We need to beat him. They ended up taking the L right there at the end.
Yeah, and he even marched down the field for a field goal to take the lead with, I can't remember how much time, a small amount of time left on the clock, a minute or less. And Caleb Williams was able to make a 40-yard drive or so, get them into field goal range to kick a last-second winning field goal right back in their face. The game kind of went how I expected to. I expected it to be a close game, although I did think the Vikings would pull it off. It was just a bullshit game, really.
Yeah.
JJ throwing some inaccurate balls.
Yeah, that was bad. He had some inaccurate balls. He needs to figure out how to get Justin Jefferson more involved in what he wants to do. I feel like he doesn't get enough oomph, you know?
Well, yeah, bro. I mean, the balls he's throwing to him are like 6 feet away. I mean, his arms aren't that long.
No kidding. Yeah, speaking of shitty games, next up we got LAC, Jacksonville. I think this is the biggest, what the fuck? I don't think anybody saw this coming, and I don't think anybody thought it was going to be a beat down. I'm sure some people could have thought this was going to be close, but after the way that the Chargers have been pulling it together the past few weeks, I thought that they were going to beat Jacksonville and maybe not do it handedly, but get them by at least 5 points.
No, I fully agree. I can't really believe that this just happened the way it happened. If you told me the Jags were going to win this game 27-17, I would have believed you. But, I mean, to win 34-6 is absurd. I'm still kind of in shock. The Chargers had 0 offensive drives, basically.
Herbert had 84 passing yards.
Yeah, and then he got pulled the full fourth quarter, essentially. That was just an atrocious shit show. That's the only way to describe it. Jags look good, though. I mean, that was a domination. I'm not sure I'm ready to call out the Jags for being good, though. They keep being up and down and up and down. Same deal with the Chargers, though. They're in the same boat as each other.
Yeah, except Chargers kind of have a shittier record.
What's the records?
6-4, 7-4. Next up, we got Tampa Bay, Buffalo. Probably the game of the weekend outside of that Carolina game.
No, this was awesome.
I was baffled watching it. I sat Sean Tucker, played Christian Watson, which ended up not being too bad, but man, should I have played Sean Tucker, and he looks good. If he's still on your waiver wire, go ahead and pick him up. Looks like Bucky Irving's going to be out a couple more weeks.
Josh Allen is just absurd, though. 6 touchdowns in the game.
That was insane.
I know he had a couple turnovers, but they won, so boo-hoo. I mean, just wow. That guy is on another level. He's unstoppable, truly. The Bills, I mean, their defense definitely had some big holes in there during that game. They need to get it fixed. They just need to get it fixed. People are running around the edges and just straight up the middle on them week after week after week.
100%.
This defense has not been what I expected it to be. It even looked pretty good the first half of the 4 or 5 weeks of the year, but the last month or so, it's been bad. So they got to get that fixed. But if they do, I have confidence they'll make some positive changes. I think Buffalo should be right back heading towards the AFC East crown. I think they can still knock off the Patriots.
Yeah, they definitely can. I think that Patriots game was more of a fluke than anything. I know the Patriots are good and they play tight games, but yeah, I think Buffalo is just a superior team offensively. And if their defense can pull it together, then that's pretty much game.
Yeah.
I would love to see Tampa Bay and Buffalo in a Super Bowl one of these years here soon. That'd be a pretty cool matchup.
That would be fun.
Next up, we got Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. This is essentially the end of Cincinnati with that L. I know that their division's pretty close, but that's a sucker punch, especially losing to Pittsburgh. It's like, why do you even bring Joe Burrow back now?
Even if you bring him back, you shouldn't rush him back.
Yeah.
I don't expect to see him on the field next week or probably even the week after that. They should just let it ride how it is for the whole season if it was up to me. We'll see what they do in Cincy. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, Aaron Rodgers left the game with a left hand or wrist fracture. It doesn't seem bad, but we'll see what happens.
He wanted to come back in the game, but
Yeah,
they
I saw
said
that.
no, so he should be fine.
We'll see. Either way, Mason Rudolph looked actually really good. Once again, this is against Cincinnati's defense, so we'll see what happens with that going forward. But keep an eye on that situation. Mason Rudolph could end up being their quarterback for a week or two. Hopefully not. But either way, they got the win. They're still sitting on top of that division. The Ravens are chasing them closely, though.
Yeah, they are. The Ravens are looking good, and they're on a full comeback. Next up, we got San Francisco at Arizona. I mean, this was a CMC show, essentially. This man went to work and beat Arizona's ass. I don't know why they had this game as close as they thought it was going to be. Maybe because it was in Arizona's house. But San Francisco came out and they looked good. They looked themselves. Everybody's looking fairly healthy. I think Purdy still needs a little bit of time. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes out this week and they have another Mac show in. If Purdy can just look a little bit healthier, this team will be right back on roll.
Yeah, CMC looked great. Kittle looked great. Their defense played pretty well. Although they were giving up a shitload of completions, Jacoby Brissett broke the NFL record with 47 completions in one game. Most of them just underneath short passes.
How many attempts did he have?
I don't know. Let me look. 57, bro.
Damn.
That's fucking good. He had 452 yards. Jacoby Brissett broke the NFL record with 47 completions on only 57 attempts with 450 yards. Statistically, that's not good at all for the Niners to give that up, but they won the game 41-22. They're not stressing. Niners are sitting in third place in their division with 7-4 record. They're only a game and a half out of first place. So that's definitely a 3-team race in the NFC West. Next up, we got Seahawks and Rams. I picked the Seahawks for a little bit of an upset. Obviously, that didn't happen. Sam Darnold went out there and played definitely the worst game of his season and worst game he's had in a few years, really. 4 picks. It was just atrocious. But somehow the Rams didn't capitalize on those 4 picks. It ended up being just a 2-point game, and the Seahawks missed a go-ahead field goal as time expired. It was a weird game for me. These are 2 really good teams that had, in my opinion, pretty rough weeks, both of them. The Rams should have won this game by 30 points. They only won by 2. I'm not really worried about either team going forward. Sam Darnold just needs to get himself together.
Next up, we got Kansas City and Denver. This was my game of the week, and I think a lot of people's game of the week. What a game. It was definitely a defensive showdown. Denver held themselves in a game that a lot of people probably expected them to lose. So this was big. This was big for the Broncos. This is big for confidence, and this is massive for playoff standings. Hopefully we can ride this wave and just continue to pull off wins and all that good stuff. I think that we have a lot of good things coming our way, and if the offense improves, I mean, we're contenders, especially with that defense. We didn't even have Surtain. That's the crazy part.
Is he coming back?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, Denver definitely stood up. Their defense did as I expected them to. Their offense actually scored some points on a really, really good Chiefs defense and held control of the game pretty much all the way through it. I know the final score was close. The Broncos owned the game. At no point in there did the Chiefs have the advantage. They were playing from behind essentially the whole way through it, and they looked really flustered playing against the Denver defense.
Yeah, that's a lot to say about that Denver defense.
It's good to see. I mean, I'm always going to be rooting against Kansas City, especially when, they have a real shot of being a super low seed in the playoffs. If they win the bowl this year, that'll be more impressive than any of the other wins.
Oh, definitely. Because they'll have to come back through some crazy stuff to do that.
Yeah. It's fun rooting against them while it lasts, though. I'm not sure how long it's going to last.
We will see. I mean, if it lasts till the end of the season, they're going to make some crazy moves this offseason.
For sure.
Next up, we got Baltimore-Cleveland. I just want to say B&E called it first. Shedeur was going to take the field at some point this year. Was not as the QB1 in this game, but he found his way to the field. Fuck Dillon Gabriel.
No.
Yes. Next up.
No. Dillon Gabriel is clearly better than Shedeur. Shedeur got in that game with like 10 minutes left and a 6-point lead, and they managed to lose by 7. He looked like shit. He walked in there. The first play I saw him do was throw a 5-yard bullet straight into a safety's stomach, literally 5 yards away from him. There's like his receiver was over here. He chucked that shit straight into the safety's stomach as hard as he could. I walked out of the room. I came back in. It was a very important 3rd down, and he proceeded to run backwards for like 14 yards and get sacked. I mean, he's clearly young. It's his first NFL action. I'm not trying to be too hard on him.
It's the first of any action. Cleveland puts him in the worst possible situation.
No, Gabriel was winning.
Fuck Dillon Gabriel.
Shedeur came in with a lead. All he had to do was get a few first downs, get a field goal. They would have. No, bro.
He just didn't have a feel.
I really believe if Gabriel didn't get hurt, the Browns would have pulled that win off. The Ravens did not look good against the Browns defense whatsoever.
It's Shedeur time. Dillon Gabriel is going to be out 1 week, and then Shedeur is going to take over.
We'll see. I mean, that's one prediction.
That's a prediction right there. Next up, we got Detroit-Philly. I think this was the matchup that everybody expected and screamed playoffs. If there was any matchup up to this point, this was definitely a playoff-worthy matchup. The only thing that drove me nuts was that Dan Campbell went for it like 5 times. I don't think I've ever heard of that in any game, and I don't think he converted any of them. You kind of expect to lose a game when you do that kind of thing. I'm not going to take this one to the chest too hard if I'm Detroit. Obviously, it sucks to lose that way, and he made some pretty funky decisions, but at the same time, you lost to the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree. He was trying to pull out all the tricks to beat them, and none of them worked this week. That doesn't mean they won't work in the playoffs. Yeah, like you said, if I'm Detroit, I'm not that worried about this loss. Record-wise, yes, it does sting being in the divisional race they are in. I know their overall record isn't what they'd like it to be. As far as what the team is and stuff, I wouldn't be that worried after that L. Jared Goff did not look that great, but like you said, the game really just came down to Dan Campbell making some of the most reckless calls I've ever seen in my life. But that's Dan Campbell, When it hits, it hits. When it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
He knows that. The Lions know that.
That's how it goes. Next up, we got Dallas-Vegas.
Game went about how I expected it to as far as the Cowboys and Raiders. I think that the Cowboys did, what they needed to do on offense against a really weak Raiders defense. Outside of Max Crosby, they really don't have much. Dak was able to pass the ball all over the field to CeeDee and to George Pickens. Javonte Williams, he had an okay game. But overall, the Cowboys offense was able to do whatever they needed to do at will. What I was really impressed with, though, was the Cowboys defense. They were able to get pressure on the quarterback consistently over and over and over again. And, I guess more so than me being impressed with them, I'm just so unimpressed with the Raiders' offensive line. They're awful. I mean, they're hands down the worst in football. So I at this point, I kind of feel bad for Geno. Everybody was getting sacks. Quinnen Williams does look like a nice addition to the defensive line here in Dallas. But we'll see what that ends up being like, against a real opponent.
Thanks for coming with us today. This was a good time. We'll come back to you with our predictions for next week here in a little bit. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow all of our platforms. Don't forget that we have our partnership with Chalkboard, where you can have a little bit of fun with some fantasy football. Go check it out. Play responsibly, and have a good week. We'll catch you later.